How's it going today, guys? Today we're finally going to be reviewing this reel I have in my hands here, a Daiwa Saltiga 2-speed 60 wide lever drag reel. I've had it for about 2.5 to 3 years now. I've really gotten to use it, put through a ton of different tests, catch a lot of big fish with it, and I've really got a well-formed opinion on this reel, and I'm going to be telling you guys whether or not I think it's worth buying, being that it is $760. So with that being said, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a future video, and smash the like button on this video. That being said, I also have the links for these reels down below in the description, so check them out. With that being said, let's get started. As we roll into this video, I'm gonna let you guys know the specs first, let you know what I have going on with this rod, and then I'm gonna tell you guys what my experience is on the reel. So how I think it performs and all that under the stress. So with that being said, let's start talking about some of the specs. So just to go over some of the basic stuff, max drag on this reel, obviously it's gonna depend from reel to reel. Please refer to Daiwa's website for the specs on all the other Saltigas. It's gonna vary based on the size of the reel, and they're all going to have different retrieve ratios, different weights, line capacities, and drags. So this particular reel right here is the 60 wide 2-speed, just a regular conventional. It puts out 45 pounds of drag. It holds, depending on what size line you have and the pound testage. So in my particular case, I have 80-pound diamond braid on here. It's supposed to hold 660 yards, but that's with the Daiwa specs, with the J braid. I didn't put J braid on here, which is why it's a little bit less, but it holds 600, a little bit more than 600 yards of this diamond braid. Also depends on how tight you have the reel packed with braid. So in my case, I was able to pack 618 yards of braid onto this reel. Also, something else to note, this is a 2-speed reel. As you can see right here, in a high speed, it would have a retrieve ratio or a retrieve of 46.3 inches per turn. In a low speed, it's going to be 20.6, so less than half. But keep in mind, at a low speed, you're putting a reel in low speed to put more torque on a fish. So example, let's say you're bottom fishing like me for red snapper, and you first get it, it's a big one, and you really got to get it up to the boat, out of the wreck or whatever it might be that it can get stuck in. Put it in low speed, get it up off the bottom, click it into high speed and away from the sharks onto the boat. I'll just show you how easy it is to convert it. So you see this little button right here on the side. I don't know how well you can see that, but you just push that in, it clicks, and then to unclick it or to put it into high speed, this little, as you're reeling, you could just easily, just as you reel, just bump it into second gear. That way it's not anything difficult, and then you can continue fighting the fish in a high speed. You just boom, just like that, and now it's back in the high speed gear ratio. High speed, once again, 46 inches per turn, 46.3 to be exact, and 20.6 in the low gear. Obviously, it's going to depend on what you're doing. So depending on the situation, you're going to have to put in different gear settings. So example, bottom fishing, when you're on the bottom, you get hooked up. You don't want that fish to get into the wreck, the rock, or whatever it is. Low gear, slower or smaller retrieve ratio. Or high gear, if you're, let's say you're fishing on top, or a tuna or something like that bites it, you know you're not going to be using full drag. Retrieve ratio is really important then to get as much line back onto the reel as fast as possible there. So then you would use a high speed in that case. Also, in the situation of the grouper, like I had mentioned earlier, or snapper, low gear to get it off the bottom, high speed to get it up to the boat once you're clear from the structure. So back to what I was saying, this weight of this reel is 38.4 ounces. It's a heavier reel. It's not too light, but it is a 60 wide reel as well, and it's packing over 600 yards of 80-pound braid. So that's a lot of line. It's going to depend on what pound test you have, how much line you have on the reel is going to affect the weight, if it's wet or not, because braid is like rope. It's heavier when it's wet because it absorbs the water. It's also going to depend on what size reel. If you have a, let's say like a 35 or like a 15 size Saltiga, it's going to be significantly lighter than this reel right here because this is a larger reel, so it's going to weigh more. So keep that into mind when you are looking to purchase the reel. It's going to depend on if are you going to be holding this reel all day, or you're going to be casting with it, whatever. all that stuff is going to come into effect choosing the right reel. So refer to Daiwa's website for their specs. This is paired to a Daiwa dark water rod, just a standard boat conventional 7-foot heavy action rod, because I'm primarily using it for bottom fishing, so I need to put some pressure on some fish. So I need a heavy action rod. So that's what I have it paired to. I have 80-pound braid on it once again, and currently I have my red snapper set up on here. It's just a fish finder rig with an 8-ounce weight. That's going to depend on how deep I am, the current and all that, but 8 ounces was enough to get me to the bottom and hold it, with a 100-pound test fluorocarbon and a 6/0 circle hook. So that was my red snapper setup on this particular day. Just got back in, and it was a great day. So glad to be telling you guys about my experiences with this reel just after a great trip with it. So this reel, we're going to talk about my experience now that I've gone over the specs. I told you a lot about the line, the retrieve ratio, the drag, and all that good stuff. This reel is a very smooth reel. I have to say it's probably the most smooth conventional that I own. I don't have anything like an international or anything like that, but it's definitely the smoothest conventional that I have. I have quite a few other ones. We will be reviewing those other reels in the future, so another reason to subscribe. But anyways, it's super smooth. I love it. You know, smooth drag is really important when you're fighting big fish that can take long runs, because you need a smooth drag, because if your drag isn't smooth, that fish could pop off and it could cost you the fish, which none of us want. So it's got a smooth drag, so it takes care of that. It's a really smooth reel to reel. The retrieve is just so smooth. It's even smooth, just like, you know, it's simple and easy to pop it out of low and high gear. The lever drag obviously is easy to use. And this 60 wide reel, as well as the jigging reels, I believe, have this salt and pepper shaker handle. That's going to allow you to put more power into the fight, which is why on the 60 wide with the high drag ratio or high drag of 45 pounds, you're going to need this salt and pepper shaker handle to help you put more torque on the fish, so that way you have an advantage over the fish. And as fishermen or fisherwomen, we need every advantage we can get. So this knob can really help you a lot. So with that being said, I really enjoy this reel. I do think it's worth it, because look, any nice reel that you buy, it's going to be expensive, especially when you're looking for smoothness, you know, retrieve ratio, and especially as they get larger like this, to put out a lot of drag. And a good quality reel is going to be pricey. And, you know, $760 is really competitive compared to some of the other models of different reels. Like, you know, like some Shimano reels can get really expensive as well. They're great reels as well. But for the price point, you know, this is pretty fair. It's really, really good. And this does compete with a lot of the higher end reels as well that might cost more than this. Like an Avid, like I would take this over an Avid. That's my personal opinion. Just me personally, I prefer this reel over an Avid reel. So it's a really great reel. I like it more than other brands and stuff like that, which is why I have this one. I'm actually buying a second one. I like it so much for my slow pitch rod that I'm having it paired to you. So I'm going to be using that reel for slow pitch jigging, the 15 size jigging reel that they have. This is going to be my big boy reel, the 60 wide reel. And, you know, I really enjoyed my experience with my Saltiga. I love it. I recommend it for you. And with that being said, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button on this video, hit the notification bell that way you don't miss a future video. Check out the reels down below. Get yours. With that being said, until next time.